Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS, and this is going to be your daily current affairs dose for prelims 2023. And in this video we are going to cover the news from various newspapers of 19th of October 2022. Alright, so let's begin. As you all know that in this video series we'll just be discussing that what to read and what not to read. So let's look at the first news. The context was that there was recently a 4-day meeting held with respect to this organization called as Interpol. Okay. So the first thing is, where was this meeting held? The answer is it was held in India. Where UPSC can trick you is, it will ask that whether it was held for the first time or not, right? So it was not the first time, it was the second time in fact. So this is the fact you should keep in mind. The second thing UPSC can ask you with respect to the organization itself, the first question can be whether it is a UN body or not, right? So the answer is no, it is not a UN body. Second thing is India a member? So the answer is yes, right? And then comes that which is the body from India which is responsible or attached with Interpol, and that is CBI. Okay, so these are the three things which you have to keep in mind. Then there are various initiatives with respect to the Interpol. Do not cram them, just have them feed in your subconscious, right? Macaulay Convention, I Familia, Operation Pangea, I-24/7, Blue Corner Notices, International Child Sexual Exploitation Database. So all these are very beautifully mentioned in our monthly magazines as well. So do read them from there, or just keep them in your subconscious mind. The second news was with respect to Nihonchu. So you should know that what is Nihonchu, right? Nihonchu basically is a fermented alcoholic rice beverage, right? So what it is made up of? Rice, and it is a alcoholic beverage. So just remember this. The second thing, which is the most important, I would say mark it a 5 star. Okay, so UPSC is not going to ask you what is Nihonchu or something, just have a sense what is it. The second thing is, the beauty about this was the GI tag for Nihonchu was filed by Japan in India, right? So UPSC can ask you that whether any foreign country can apply for a GI tag, and immediately you will get confused. So the answer is yes, a foreign country can also apply for a GI tag in India. ठीक है जी. Then there are few specifics with respect to GI tag, right? What is the act which regulates it? Where is the headquarters? They are in Chennai. And then what is the international agreement which controls it? That is the TRIPS agreement. That's it. Here we have mentioned various GI tags which were recently in news. Put here, make a column in your own notes that whether they have been awarded as of now or they have not been awarded, right? So they have been covered in our monthly notes. So do read from there. Then comes the very important news. Again, I will give you a beautiful context that how you have to read it. So what happened was, recently there was this benzene gas in news, right? So I guess from a power plant or something it got leaked, and UPSC asked about the uses or the sources of benzene gas. Okay. So with respect to this, diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol, these have been in news because recently there was this country called as Gamibia, and where was it? You should know the location. It was in Western Africa, right? So there was this cough syrup, and there were child deaths with the inhalation of that cough syrup. And why is it important? Because the company which is blamed of this is an Indian company. That company is from Haryana, made in pharmaceuticals. No need to remember the name, just know that. Why is it important? Then UPSC is not going to ask you that this news. The focus would be on diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. So these are the two important things which you need to know. The first thing with respect to this, you should know that these both are, number one, lethal, right? These both are lethal. Plus second thing is they are illegal adulterants as well, right? They are illegal adulterants. So UPSC already asked about triclosan. It has already asked about parabens, right? So these two can be a question. Do mark it 3 star or 5 star. Then if you are focusing here that diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol are bad, so what is the good substitute of this? The good substitute is glycerine or the glycerol or the propylene glycol. ठीक है जी. So these two are the good initiatives. So if you have to remember, do remember that DG and EG are not the good ones, and G and PG are the good ones. Then comes the use of glycerine and propylene glycol. So they are used as preservatives, thickness, sweeteners, and antimicrobial agent. Nothing else was important in this news. All right. Then comes news number 4. That was spider species. What are the names of these spider species? No need to cram them. Just have in your subconscious that these are the names. UPSC can ask you that Siampenops, Aphra felicia. What are these? So just remember, these are the spider species. The news which you have to focus, or the area where UPSC can target, is with respect to the locations of these. Okay, so do mark all these locations: Thar Desert, Garo Hills in Meghalaya, Kurichidia Forest in Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, etc. So do mark all these places in your maps. This was important with respect to this news. Then comes the fifth, that is the pleasure of the governor. So context was that recently Kerala governor said that dismissing the independently dismissing the ministers is the pleasure of the governor. So is it? So the answer you should know, is it clearly no? Then why we are saying that it is no? Because Article 164 says that if the governor wants to dismiss them independently, he cannot do that. He has to do it on the advice of whom? On the advice of chief minister. All right, so this was the essence of this news, and you should just know this. Then the next news was with respect to global astrometric interferometer for astrophysics. ठीक है जी, GAIA. GAIA. And then you have to know that the first thing is it NASA's mission? So the answer was no. Is it ISRO's mission? The second thing should strike your mind. No, it was not. So whose mission it was? It was ESA's mission. So just remember this. Second thing is you have to associate this keyword Poway. What is it? So Poway is a phenomena related to black hole. Nothing else is required. What is the definition? What is the scientific meaning of this term? Nothing. So it is just a black hole phenomena. It is related to just, so do remember only these three. Then there are these missions, or the telescopes, or the instruments, or the initiatives mentioned. These are mentioned in our monthly notes, so do cover them from here. Event Horizon Telescope you have to cover. Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observation, LIGO Observatory you have to cover. Then Hubble Telescope, and last being the very long baseline interferometer. Done. The next news was with respect to the solar facility. You have to know, first thing is organization. Is it UN or not? So no, it is not UN. It is basically under the International Solar Alliance. So the essence of this news was, so basically solar facility has been brought to gather the investment. Okay, so this is its sole purpose. For gathering the investment, it has the two financial components, and that are Solar Payment Guarantee Fund and other is Solar Insurance Fund. Okay, so you just have to see that the UPSC can ask you that Solar Payment Guarantee Fund, Solar Insurance Fund, solar facility are components of what? So you should just relate, you should just be able to relate in the examination that they are related to International Solar Alliance. Next thing the UPSC can ask or trick you is the area. Okay, ji. So whether it is for the entire world, the answer is no. Whether it is for the tropical regions where the sun's rays are vertical for the majority of the time, no, it is not. It is just for African region as of now. That's it. Then there is this news with respect to NRI deposits. The context basically was, as global rates rise, NRI deposits decline to $6.84 billion in 5 months. Okay, so should these stats be your focus? The answer is a clear no. You should immediately focus on the basics of FCNR or the NRI deposits. So NRI deposits are also known as FCNR bank account deposits. Okay, ji. The usage, then you should be immediately focusing your focus to the static part, right, where you have read them already. You have read them while we read them while calculating the BOP in the capital account. One of the components is the FCNR. You should immediately then focus upon the trend that pre-COVID it was positive, while post-COVID it became negative, that more amount of NRI deposits are not being made now in India, right? Then usage, it is also used in the LIBOR, okay, while calculating the LIBOR, which is the interbank rate. Then you have to focus upon the static part, that is what is the relation between global interest rates and the NRI deposits. So as the global interest rates will increase, the NRIs will not deposit their money in India. Rather, what they would do, they would deposit them in the foreign banks because they are getting more interest over there. The second relation you have to make for the aspect of UPSC is the relation between the fall in NRI deposit and the relation between the rupee's decline and strengthening of dollar, right? So if the rupee is declining, why would NRIs deposit in Indian banks? They will obviously prefer to deposit their money in the foreign banks as the dollar is rising. And then the last aspect you should look at, that what are the measures which RBI can take, like the current measure or the immediate measure is it can temporarily increase the interest rates on deposits, right? And the long term measures is it can take the measures, all the measures in static part which you have learned for the aspect which RBI can take to strengthen the rupee against dollar will satisfy the demand for increasing the NRI deposits as well. And the second reason is by improving the foreign exchange inflow in the form of FPI. All right, so let's move on to the next news. It was with respect to the CCEA. The first question can be, who heads CCEA? So CCEA is headed by the Prime Minister. Second thing, what CCEA does, it declares the MSP price for the various crops, and recently it has declared it for Rabi crops. So which are the 6 Rabi crops? You can just have a brief glance at them. Second thing, do hear the related concept, that is FRP, fair and remunerative price. Okay, so it is declared by the government and not the CCEA, and it is for 3 crops, that is jute. The second is copra is basically the husk of coconut, all right, and the third is the sugar cane. So that was it from this news. Then is the giraffe, 10th news. So for giraffe, just 2 things you have to remember. One is the habitat of this each giraffe, that is the Nubian giraffe and the Rothschild giraffe. And the second thing you have to remember is their IUCN status. That's it. Nothing else is required. Then the 11th news was with respect to the Booker Prize. With respect to Booker Prize, you do not have to remember the context, not useful for UPSC. The first thing you have to remember is what it is given for, because recently in 2021 the trend has been changed. UPSC is asking such questions now. So the first thing is what it is given for. It is given for a single work of fiction. Second thing you have to remember is when it is given annually. The third thing is to which works it is given. So it is basically given to the works which are published only in 2 countries. That can be extreme statement which your mind can think in the exam pressure. Okay, so lagega ki only 2 countries. No, this is not possible. Okay, so yes, it is 2 countries only, and then it is to whom it can be given. It is open to anyone regardless of the origin. Okay, so the work should be published in 2 countries, but anyone of any origin can go to those countries and get their works published over there in order to get the Booker Prize. So these are the today's places which you have to look on the maps and you have to locate on the maps. Column, West African nations because of the cough syrup news which we read, the Gamibia, the Alaska, etc., Jerusalem, etc. Then these are the topics which are then covered in our monthly news. I don't think we should cover them here. They are not as such important, but still if you want to read them, they are beautifully covered in our monthly magazines, and they are just about 40 pages. All right. So these are the news. These were the notes I was talking to you about. All right. So you can go to our website. You can subscribe to these notes. And so this was the end of the basically video. Thank you so much.